The soft hum of jazz music floated through the luxury store as sunlight poured in through the tall glass windows. Rows of designer suits and gleaming accessories lined the shelves like trophies. The floor shone with marble polish, reflecting the chandeliers above. A silent reminder that this wasn't just a store, it was a kingdom for the wealthy. And standing proudly in the middle of it all was Brandon Pierce, the store's top salesman. Or at least, that's how he saw himself. Brandon adjusted his silk tie, smirked at his reflection in the mirror, and whispered to himself, "Another day, another commission." He loved this place, Harrington and Lowe, one of the most exclusive men's boutiques in downtown Atlanta. The kind of store where a single suit could cost more than someone's rent. For Brandon, working here wasn't just a job, it was validation, proof that he belonged among the elite, or at least close enough to them to feel superior. At 10:02 a.m., the door chimed. A man stepped inside, tall, early 30s, dark skin, dressed casually in jeans, a gray hoodie, and clean sneakers. He carried himself with quiet confidence, his posture calm, his eyes observant. But to Brandon, all he saw was someone who didn't belong. The salesman's smile faded into a polite but dismissive half-smirk. "Great," he muttered under his breath, "another window shopper." The man looked around, admiring the suits, touching the fabrics gently. His name was Marcus Allen, though no one in the store knew it yet. Marcus had been quiet all morning as he drove here. He had recently come back to Atlanta after years away, years that had changed everything about him. And today, he wasn't just here to shop. He was here for something much bigger. But to Brandon, he was just another broke guy wasting time. "Excuse me," Marcus said politely, approaching one of the displays. "Can I take a look at that charcoal suit in the window?" Brandon didn't move. He was still polishing his watch, pretending to be busy. "That one's expensive," he said casually without looking up. Marcus smiled faintly. "That's fine. I just want to see it." Brandon finally turned, sizing him up from head to toe. The hoodie, the sneakers, the lack of designer logos. "It's $2,500. We don't do try-on unless you're seriously purchasing." Marcus raised an eyebrow. "I didn't say I wasn't." "Of course," Brandon said with mock sympathy, "but you'd be surprised how many people come in here just to take pictures or look around. This isn't Macy's." The words hit like small daggers, polite, but poisoned. Marcus took a slow breath. Years ago, he might have reacted, but time and experience had taught him restraint. "I understand," he said quietly. "Could I still see the suit?" Brandon sighed dramatically. "Fine, but let's not waste time, okay? I've got real clients coming in." He turned sharply, grabbed the suit from the display, and tossed it onto the counter with a loud thump. Marcus walked over, still calm, though his patience was thinning. He brushed a bit of dust off the sleeve and smiled to himself. "Beautiful craftsmanship," he said softly. "Italian wool?" "Of course," Brandon scoffed. "You can tell that?" "I can," Marcus replied evenly. "And I actually prefer the Harrington cut over the newer slim fits. It's more timeless." That comment made Brandon pause, just for a second. Most people wouldn't know that detail unless they understood fashion deeply. But his ego was too big to let curiosity break through his bias. "Right," Brandon said sarcastically. "You prefer it. Are you in fashion?" Marcus gave a modest shrug. "Something like that." "Sure you are," Brandon said under his breath, rolling his eyes. "Listen, man, maybe you'd be more comfortable at one of our outlet stores. They've got some good deals going on this week." The sting of condescension filled the air, like static. Marcus looked him straight in the eye. "You think I can't afford this suit?" Brandon didn't flinch. I think we both know what kind of customer usually buys these suits. I'm just saving you time, man. That's all." Silence. The music played softly again, some Miles Davis track, as Marcus nodded slowly, absorbing the insult. Then he smiled. "All right, I'll tell you what. Why don't you ring it up anyway? I'll take it." Brandon blinked. "You're buying it?" "Yes. And a few others if you've got more in my size." The salesman laughed. "Are you kidding, right? That's over 10 grand worth of product." Marcus didn't answer. He reached into his hoodie pocket and pulled out a sleek black card, the kind with no limit. Brandon's laughter froze mid-air. Marcus placed the card gently on the counter. "Still want to send me to the outlet?" The silence that followed was heavy. Brandon's mouth opened slightly, but no sound came out. He grabbed the card quickly, suddenly flustered. "Of course, sir. My apologies, sir. I'll have these packed right away." As he scrambled, Marcus leaned on the counter, watching the panic unfold. Before we continue this story, make sure to like and subscribe. Marcus didn't say much. He just observed. The same man who had been dismissed minutes ago, now being treated like royalty because of a shiny piece of plastic. It was almost funny. As Brandon fumbled to enter the transaction, the store manager, Karen Lowe, walked out from the back. Late 40s, sharp-dressed, confident, she was the co-owner and face of the brand. "Everything all right out here?" she asked. Brandon, desperate to recover, forced a smile. "Yes, Miss Lowe, just helping a very important client." Her gaze shifted to Marcus, who gave a polite nod. "Welcome to Harrington and Lowe. I don't think I've seen you before." Marcus smiled. "Not yet, but I'm familiar with your work." Karen chuckled modestly. "That's flattering." Brandon, make sure he gets the full experience. Champagne, tailoring, the works. "Of course," Brandon said quickly. As Karen disappeared back into her office, Brandon exhaled in relief. "Lucky break. You caught her on a good day." Marcus said nothing. He just looked around the store again, his eyes thoughtful, almost nostalgic, because this wasn't the first time he had stood here. Years ago, before the brand became famous, before the marble floors and glass walls, this very space had been a small clothing startup. Marcus remembered it well. He'd been there at the beginning, the quiet kid with big dreams and sketches no one believed in. Back then, he wasn't Marcus Allen, the successful entrepreneur. He was Marcus, the intern who used to sweep these very floors. And the man who had given him that chance was Karen's late husband, Richard Lowe, the original co-founder. Memories came flooding back, Richard teaching him how to tell quality from hype, how to understand fabric like a language, how to respect customers from every walk of life. "Don't ever judge who's in front of you, Marcus," he used to say. "Money doesn't wear a uniform." Marcus smiled at the thought. "Sir," Brandon's voice snapped him back. "Would you like to try the suit on?" Marcus nodded. "Sure." Brandon led him toward the fitting room, overly eager now, offering compliments that felt hollow. "You've got the frame for our premium cut. It'll look incredible on you, sir." Marcus changed into the suit. The fit was perfect, almost poetic. He looked at himself in the mirror and thought, Richard would have been proud. When he stepped out, even Brandon couldn't hide his awe. "Wow," he said, "that's actually a perfect fit." Marcus chuckled softly. "Yeah, it feels familiar." Brandon forced a laugh. "I can see why you like the Harrington cut now." Marcus tilted his head. "You ever wonder who designed it?" Brandon shrugged. "Some European tailor, I guess?" Marcus smiled faintly. "No, an African-American designer from Atlanta. Guy named Marcus Allen." The color drained from Brandon's face. "Wait, that's—" "Yes," Marcus said calmly. "That's me. I started as an intern here 10 years ago. Mr. Lowe took a chance on me when no one else would. I helped design the first Harrington line before leaving to start my own company." Brandon stammered. You're that Marcus Allen? The owner of Marlux? Marcus nodded once. And, as of last week, part owner of this store. Brandon's mouth fell open. You... what? Marcus smiled softly, eyes full of bittersweet calm. Richard passed away 2 years ago. His wife, Karen, and I finalized a partnership recently. The papers are still fresh. For a moment, the room felt still, like time itself had stopped. Brandon tried to speak, but words tangled in his throat. Sir, I didn't know. I didn't mean... Marcus raised a hand gently. You didn't need to know who I was to treat me with respect. Brandon swallowed hard, his face burning with shame. He walked back to the counter, slipping off the suit jacket. He said, Keep it. Consider it a reminder. He turned to leave but paused at the door. He said quietly, One more thing. Next time someone walks in here, don't decide who they are based on what they wear. And with that, he left. Outside, the sun hit his face. He exhaled deeply, pulling out his phone. There was a message from Karen. Ready to announce the partnership today? Marcus smiled. Yes, let's do it. He glanced back at the store once more, not in anger, but in quiet triumph. He had returned to the place where he once mopped floors, and now he owned part of it. But the story wasn't over yet, because the next day, the entire city would know who Marcus Allen truly was, and karma had only just begun to work its magic. The morning after, downtown Atlanta buzzed with its usual rhythm, the honking of cars, the chatter of commuters, and the golden glow of sunrise bouncing off skyscraper glass. Inside Harrington and Lowe, the energy was different. Word had spread, a rumor that a major investor was taking over part of the company, but no one knew who. Brandon Pierce stood by the display window, pretending to fix ties and jackets. His hands trembled slightly. He hadn't slept well. Every time he closed his eyes, he replayed the scene from yesterday, his arrogance, the look in Marcus's eyes, and the quiet power behind every calm word. He kept telling himself, maybe he was lying, maybe he just said that to make me feel bad. But then came the email. At 8:42 a.m., every staff member received an internal memo from Karen Lowe. Subject: New partner introduction today. Mandatory staff meeting, 10 a.m. sharp. Brandon's stomach twisted. He looked around, hoping someone else was panicking too, but most of the staff were excited, whispering about new opportunities, pay raises, and brand expansion. Meanwhile, Brandon felt like he was walking toward a guillotine. He tried to focus on work, but his mind kept flashing back to Marcus's voice, calm, steady, unforgettable. You didn't need to know who I was to treat me with respect. Every word echoed like thunder in his conscience. At 9:55, the staff gathered at the center of the store. The chandeliers gleamed, the suits stood crisp and silent, and the faint scent of cologne hung in the air. Karen Lowe stepped out from her office, elegant as ever in a black suit dress. Her voice carried authority and warmth in equal measure. Good morning, everyone. I won't take much of your time. As you all know, Harrington and Lowe has always stood for excellence, not just in fashion, but in the values we represent. My late husband Richard believed in giving people chances, in seeing talent and integrity before titles or appearances. She paused, her tone softening slightly. Today, I'm proud to introduce someone who embodies that spirit, someone who helped shape this brand from its earliest days. She turned toward the front door. The glass doors opened slowly, and in walked Marcus Allen. This time, there was no hoodie. He was dressed in a tailored navy suit, one of his own designs, paired with a silk tie and brown Oxfords. His presence filled the room effortlessly. He didn't need to speak for people to notice him. Karen smiled proudly. Everyone, meet Marcus Allen. Gasps rippled across the room. A few staff members even clapped. Brandon froze completely. his throat dry, his palms sweaty. Marcus offered a polite smile and shook hands with a few employees. "It's an honor to be back here," he said softly. "This place changed my life once. I'm hoping together we can change a few more." Karen nodded. "Marcus isn't just joining us for the investment, he's here to help redefine our company culture, to make sure that we continue Richard's legacy of respect and opportunity." The staff nodded, moved by the speech. But Brandon could barely hear anything. The ringing in his ears was deafening. Marcus turned, his gaze finally landing on him. "Brandon, good to see you again," Marcus said calmly. Every eye in the room turned toward them. Brandon's face went pale. Karen glanced between them. "You two have met?" Marcus smiled slightly. "Yes, yesterday. We had a memorable interaction." A few people chuckled nervously, unsure how to react. Brandon tried to force a smile. "Yes, sir. A misunderstanding, that's all." Marcus tilted his head slightly. "That's one way to describe it." The tension was thick. Brandon's heart hammered in his chest.
Karen cleared her throat. "Well, I'm sure that's behind us. Marcus, would you like to address the team?" He nodded. "Of course." Marcus stepped forward, his tone calm but commanding. "I won't take long. I just want to share something personal." He glanced around the store, the shining marble floors, the gleaming racks of suits, the polished glass counters. 10 years ago, I was an intern here," he began. "Back then, I didn't have much. I was fresh out of college, no connections, no fancy clothes, just big dreams and bigger determination. Richard Lowe saw something in me that I didn't even see in myself. He taught me that in this business, appearance can deceive you, but character never does." The room was silent. Even the soft background music had been switched off. Marcus continued, "Yesterday, I came in dressed casually. I wanted to see if that principle still lived here, if we still treated people the same, whether they came in wearing a hoodie or a suit." Karen's eyebrows rose slightly, realization dawning on her face. Marcus's tone darkened just a little. "What I found was disappointing. One of your salesmen, your top salesman apparently, decided I wasn't worth his time because of how I looked." Murmurs spread through the staff. Brandon's heart dropped to his stomach. Marcus turned his gaze directly to him. "He made assumptions. He insulted me. He told me to try our outlet stores because this wasn't Macy's." The staff gasped audibly. A few heads turned toward Brandon, eyes wide in disbelief. Karen's face hardened. "Is that true, Brandon?" "Ma'am, I didn't know who he was." "That's exactly the point," Marcus interrupted gently but firmly. "You didn't need to." Brandon stuttered. I was just trying to, I thought." Marcus sighed. "You thought you knew me because of my clothes, but you didn't see me. You saw what you wanted to see." He turned to the rest of the team. "Let me be clear. This store doesn't exist because of fancy suits or marble floors. It exists because of the people who believe in its values, because of the customers who trust us. If we can't treat every single person who walks through that door with respect, no matter what they wear or where they come from, then we've lost the soul of this brand." Karen nodded firmly, her face serious. "He's right. This behavior doesn't represent who we are." Brandon's eyes filled with regret. "Please, ma'am, I didn't mean any harm. I was just trying to protect the brand." Marcus looked at him for a long moment, not with anger, but with quiet disappointment. "I believe you, but sometimes we harm the brand more when we judge others than when we serve them." Karen folded her arms. "Brandon, I think you need to take some time off,
effective immediately. We'll review your position after further discussion. The blood drained from Brandon's face. Please, Ms. Lowe, I need this job. Karen's tone softened slightly. Then maybe you should have treated every customer like they mattered. Brandon's knees weakened. He looked at Marcus, desperate, humiliated. Sir, please, I made a mistake. Don't ruin my career over one bad moment. Marcus looked at him thoughtfully. Then, instead of responding, he simply said, You ruined your own moment when you forgot how to be human. The words landed heavy. Brandon lowered his head, shame washing over him. Karen signaled to a junior manager to escort him out. The other employees stood frozen, a mix of shock, respect, and silence. As Brandon walked toward the exit, Marcus called out softly, Brandon. He stopped, trembling. Marcus said, Learn from this. Because the world is full of people who look different from you, live different lives from you. If you can't see past the surface, you'll never truly succeed, in business or in life. Brandon nodded slowly, tears brimming in his eyes. I understand. Marcus gave a quiet nod. Then prove it someday. Brandon left the store without another word. Hours later, after the meeting ended, Marcus stood alone in the showroom. The buzz had died down. The staff had gone back to work, now with a new energy, one built on respect, not fear. Karen walked over, crossing her arms. You handled that with grace. Marcus smiled faintly. I didn't want to humiliate him, just make him think. That you did, Karen said. Richard would have been proud. Marcus's voice softened. He taught me everything I know about integrity. I just wish he was here to see how far this place has come. Karen smiled sadly. He is here. Every time someone gets treated right, every time someone's given a chance, that's him. Marcus nodded. A few moments of quiet passed, then Karen added, I was wrong too, you know. Over the years, I let this place become too focused on image. Maybe it's time we get back to what really matters. Marcus smiled. Then let's start today. They shook hands, partners, equals, friends. Later that week, Harrington and Lowe released a public statement announcing their new partnership with Marcus Allen. The press went wild. Luxury brand partners with Black designer to promote diversity and equality. Social media exploded with praise. Customers flooded in, many saying they wanted to support a brand that finally practiced what it preached. The store became busier than ever. And one afternoon, as Marcus was leaving after a long day, he noticed someone standing outside the store, a familiar face, Brandon. He looked nervous, holding a small paper bag. Marcus approached him slowly. Brandon? Brandon looked up, eyes sincere. Mr. Allen, I didn't want to bother you. I just wanted to say thank you. Marcus frowned gently. For what? For not destroying me, for giving me a chance to reflect. You were right. I forgot how to see people for who they are. I've been volunteering at a youth center these past few days. It's opened my eyes. Marcus smiled softly. That's good to hear. Brandon held out the paper bag. It's just a coffee. I figured you might need it after another long day. Marcus accepted it, genuinely touched. Thank you. There was a long pause, the kind of silence that meant something had shifted. Brandon said quietly, If you ever need another salesman, maybe someone who's learned the hard way what respect means, I'd love another chance someday. Marcus studied him, this time seeing the humility, not the arrogance. Maybe, Marcus said, with a small smile. Keep doing what you're doing. The right doors will open. Brandon nodded, grateful. I will. As Marcus watched him walk away, He took a sip of the coffee. It was still warm. He looked up at the glowing Harrington and Low sign above the door, a symbol of how far he'd come. A quiet smile touched his face. "Full circle," he whispered.
Never judge a book by its cover. Because when you treat people with respect, you never lose, no matter what suit you wear. If you want more content like this, then hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our videos. Thanks for watching.